people here. Let's just get into it right away. So first and foremost, on the very end, actually, John, I've been following you for a while. We got John HQ, security expert, secured pudgy penguins and a bunch of other Discords here to help us out with, I don't know, learn some ways to not get hacked. What's going on, John?
Not a whole lot. I'm mainly here to ask dumb questions about Bitcoin infrastructure. That's what I'm planning on.
Hell yeah. There's been a lot of dumb questions rolling around, mostly from me. So yeah. Alicia joined. Spider Mom is what you had actually in your profile. So we're going to talk spider chains. I thought you were like a spider collector, but apparently this is a Bitcoin thing. I'm pretty excited.
Very much a spider collector. Exactly.
Okay. Well, we might talk into that. You're also in emerging markets, music, vibes. You went Harvard Business School apparently. Fancy here. What's going on? What are you working on these days?
I'm one of the co-founders of Botanics Labs, aka the Spider Chain, one of the upcoming Bitcoin L2s that we're going to be chatting about during this conversation.
Beautiful. God, L2s. I've been in this house for one day, and like, yeah, if I had $1 for every time someone said L2, I'd be rich. I can afford a puppet right now. Next, Benari. What's going on? We haven't met before. You work for Best in Slot and Ordinals aggregator, correct?
Yes.
And also, you work for an indexer as well?
Yeah, indexing stuff.
Nice. You wanted to give us a little rundown of what those are called and where you can find out about them?
There is like bestinslot.xyz is the website, and opi.network is the website for the indexer, but we haven't released it yet. You're just going to see the GitHub link and stuff.
We like it. We're starting with the GitHub link. That's good. Okay. That's what matters.
We just put it out first.
Yes.
Just kicks things off.
Let the nerds know. It's real. Okay.
Yeah,
it's on GitHub. Okay.
Yeah.
Beautiful. We'll talk more about that. And finally, the man, the myth, the legend. Every time he puts out a thread, I bookmark it and I come back and I read it I'm not joking.
Me too.
Very detailed. And I ask a lot of questions on the internet. One of the best names in crypto, Bob Bodley. What's going on, Bob? What are you working on?
Super happy to be here. Happy to drop some, fun alpha on all the latest crazy things going on Bitcoin. Some of it L2s, some of it side chains, some of it, BRC 22.0. I mean, lots of crazy things happening. And yeah, excited to be here and chat it up. Hopefully we don't get too technical today.
Oh no, we're gonna get technical. I'm joking. Okay, let's just do it. Don't worry, it's gonna be good. Let's just start. Okay, L2s is a topic. Everyone seems to be involved in it some way. I heard Bob right before it starts. I'm really confused. He's like, yeah, I'm in the L2s and they're a scam. So you're a scammer apparently is what's happening. So.
Allegedly, so am I.
Okay, yeah. So why are you guys you guys love L2s, but you're critical of them? Maybe we can just start from there. So like, where are you guys standing? Why are you actually critical of L2s? Why are most a scam apparently?
Yeah, I'll take it first, and then Alicia, I'm sure you have lots of good thoughts to add as well. If you think about an L2 from like an L2 beat perspective, and this comes mostly from the Ethereum side, you want unilateral exit from the L2 back to the L1. You also don't want to inherit any additional trust assumptions beyond those of the layer 1. So like a ZK rollup is an example of something where you have trustless bridging to and from the ZK rollup, and you have unilateral exit, at least in an ideal case, from the ZK rollup. So, Lightning Network is a good example of, pretty much an L2. Recently, we've been seeing everyone just claiming they're an L2 for the marketing vibes, which I mean, maybe you're supposed to do, overstate claims and go crazy on the marketing side. But really, the term L2 is just getting dragged through the mud on Bitcoin, and it doesn't mean anything anymore. An L2 just means like, the way people use it is an L2 is just something that talks about Bitcoin. Doesn't matter where it's built. It doesn't matter whether it's a token or not. It's just something that uses Bitcoin. And so I aspire to, a higher, greater definition of L2.
I got you. So, yeah.
Yeah, fully agreed. I think Lightning is the only true L2 on Bitcoin. Actually, Elizabeth Stark, CEO of Lightning Labs, is our advisor. So she has very strong opinions on the definition of an L2, and she considers us the closest thing to an L2. So we'll take our props there. I think that L2s it's become a hot narrative. So obviously we've been working at Botanics on this idea for about a year and a half. Willem wrote the white paper for 6 months. So we've been in the space for a long time. It's really interesting. When we were circulating our deck last year, we were trying to convince people to care about Bitcoin. Literally nobody cared. And all of a sudden everybody cares, which is wild, right? So in the past 2 months, everyone and their mother is creating a Bitcoin L2, which is good and bad for us, right? Good because I think people are finally waking up to the necessity of greater utility and programmability on Bitcoin. Not on base layer, obviously, and like that's why we can debate about the terminology of an L2. But I do think that the bad is that there are a lot of scams that are coming out into the market, right? So, I mean, there's a lot of projects that have come out and captured a lot of liquidity right away. I'm very skeptic of the longevity and the legitimacy of that TVL. And so I think we need to be skeptical and really evaluate every single one of these purported L2s. I agree with Bob, like nothing is truly an L2. I think with the spider chain, we are probably the closest thing as validated by like Jameson Lopp and Elizabeth Stark and everyone else.
We are live.
And yeah, I just think we need to be very, very cautious, especially because Bitcoin is still the most immaculate capital in the world, and we don't want to lose. I don't think we as Bitcoiners want to lose sight of that, going forward.
Okay, so I'm hearing there's this narrative that L2s are scam, but you're saying they're not L2s, right? So the fake L2s are scams. Real L2s are not a scam. Is that a way to put it? So we need a new name for the fake L2s. That's the key, because if they're going to keep calling themselves L2s, you got to be able to call them like, they're fail 2s or I don't know, something to differentiate. Because every time I hear people that like
just follow Bob on Twitter. He'll tell you what's real.
100%. Well, so you did mention this whole spider chain thing. You got spiders all over you. What does that even mean? Explain it.
That's branding. Okay, so let me walk you guys through spider chains, because we're very different from every other L2, because every other L2 is some version of a rollup, which A, is not possible on Bitcoin Core, 2, is deeply centralized, or 3, is dependent on some version of BitVM, which is not in production scale yet, right? So we're obviously very good friends with Robin and big fans of his work at BitVM, but it is not in production scale yet. So any L2 or such project that claims to be using it, I think that they have a long road ahead. And I do think that the possibility of a Bitcoin soft fork is another long road ahead. So our CTO, Armin Sabori, wrote Opcat. That's why we're such good friends with the Wizards. Love Udi. We're working with them quite a bit. But I do think it is highly unrealistic for us to be dependent on any sort of soft fork in the next 2 to 3 years. So let's talk about the spider chains. Spider chain, the best way to think about it is like a network of decentralized multisigs. So the way it works is you have all of these nodes, right? You have all of these node runners. They put in some Bitcoin stake. Let's say it's 3 Bitcoin, right? You need that for one specific node. So you have over time a network of, let's say, 10,000 node runners, and that's your decentralized staker set. So what we do is we create a multisig, and we choose 100 random participants from that network of 10,000 stakers to secure that multisig. And actually, the fun fact here is we actually use Bitcoin's VRF, or SHA-256, aka the most randomization function in the world, to pick those 100 random participants. So that secures multisig 1. Then we create another multisig. We choose another 100 random participants using that same function to secure that second multisig, and so on until you create a network of decentralized multisigs, aka a spider web,
Gotcha.
aka the spider chain. But yeah, that is our main differentiator. And because we're not a rollup and we don't have the data availability problem, our gas fees are extremely low. They're hundreds of a cent. Our block times are long. We're 7 to 9 seconds. We refuse to be faster because then we will compromise on the decentralization. And yeah, everything is in Bitcoin. Bitcoin is a gas token. It's a settlement layer. I think that's why I think Elizabeth and Jameson, all of these folks, do consider us to be the closest thing to a Bitcoin L2.
I was gonna say, you're like, let's not get technical, and you're just slipping in really quickly. Like, yeah, it's VRF. Okay, it's actually the most verifiably random function. Okay, here we go.
Compared to Bob, I am not technical, but I am technical. I'm a physicist, so yeah.
Nice. So maybe Bob, to go back on this then. So who are the actual L2s then, right? If there's a bunch of fakes out there, they're all scams here. Who are the ones then you're actually looking at?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know that I've dug into all of them. It's so easy to go on and claim, hey, here we are. Here's our Twitter. Here's our website. We're really awesome. Here's some marketing speak, ZK rollups, BitVM, trustless, L2, awesomeness. And to actually disprove that, it's like 2 orders of magnitude more time than to actually make all of the claims. Like, I could spin up a fake L2 in the next 3 hours and have it live and start getting, Bitcoin deposits. And it would take a long time for someone to figure out, like, how is everything set up.
Merlin is a centralized multisig, and they captured 2 billion of TVL within 2 weeks. And it's a centralized multisig.
Yes. Yeah. Yes. So I would say I do really like Botanics. I'm not just saying it because Alicia is here. It is a really great model, and it plays well with the drive chains and the BitVM narrative. There's lots of ways where like Opcat or BitVM or drive chains or Botanics can all kind of play together in this multiple side chains future for Bitcoin, which I really like. There's a lot to love about that version of scaling Bitcoin. On the roll-up side, I think you have different approaches. You have like Citria from Chainway. They're doing like a BitVM BitVM sovereign roll-up with light client security. So Citria is really interesting, still a work in progress. We don't have a functional trust minimized BitVM bridge yet. But they're working on it. They're working closely with Robin. And I know that there are other BitVM bridging models. Like I know SuperTestNet has the Unisob model. John Light proposed the BitStake model. And so all of this is really interesting, but it's still like work that needs to be done. So that's really interesting. And then I personally also like the BOB team, not just because my name is Bob, but also just because, so they're building on an optimistic.
That's building on Bitcoin?
Yeah. Build on Bitcoin. Build on Bitcoin. Yeah, BOB. Build on Bitcoin. Build on Bob. Yep. I don't know why I didn't create a Bitcoin L2 named Bob. It feels like a big miss that I'm going to be regretting for the rest of my life. But they beat me to it. Optimistic rollup settles to Ethereum, but essentially has Bitcoin superpowers. Think about easy bridging of Bitcoin, easy bridging of ordinals, easy bridging of other tokens, being able to, merge mine. It's almost like a Bitcoin L2, ETH L2 hybrid. I know the team. They're really, really smart. I'm not an advisor. I don't own any of their token. I'm not paid to say any of this. This is just my current thoughts on some interesting models on Bitcoin right now.
So as just a dumb degen, right? What do all these things do to help me? I don't know, like buy more cats faster, or like, you know what I mean? I'm just trying to make money over here. That's a lot of technical terms. Yeah, how's this helping?
I feel like
Mike too. When you're.
I'm sorry, I don't want to hog the
No,
conversation.
go.
Please go ahead.
I have so many strong opinions.
That's what we're here for. We want strong opinions.
Okay, so we've been live on testnet since November. We've had millions of transactions, 5,000 tokens that have been launched, the only LT with any sort of testnet activity. We have 80 teams that are building on top of us for two main use cases. One of them is Bitcoin DeFi, the other is inscriptions DeFi. On the Bitcoin DeFi, just imagine there's like 1 trillion of capital that is waiting to experience native Bitcoin endogenous yield. So I would say the difference between us and Babylon is capturing exogenous Bitcoin yield, and we're capturing endogenous Bitcoin yield. So it's a little bit different because we're using our own ecosystem activity.
Wait, say that one more time. Endogenous versus exogenous.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So our yield is generated by our own ecosystem, if that makes sense. So there's 80 projects building on top of Botanics. And thank you.
Okay, so like Babylon, for example, you stake Bitcoin and then you can restake it in other proof of stake layers to secure those.
For us, it's all on Botanics itself.
And it's all in the Botanics ecosystem.
Exactly.
It's not just taking your Bitcoin and getting yield by securing other proof of stake chains.
Exactly.
Got it. Okay.
And for inscriptions DeFi, so which I'm super excited about, I have a puppet. Obviously, we're besties with the Taproot Wizards because of Opcat. So super bullish on that ecosystem. Was chatting with the Liquidium team. It's really, really expensive to obviously trade on base layer. You have to think about some sort of scaling solution, and one that the Ordinals communities will be happy about. So that's what we're thinking about, is like, how do we build, like I'm trying to recruit and attract the best DeFi building teams to really build out like an inscriptions ecosystem. So like imagine dexing all of your Ordinals, perping your Ordinals, just using them as collateral. I think there's just a lot of degen activity that's waiting to be captured there.
Gotcha. So,
I'm
perfect.
just going to stop talking now.
No, it's perfect. A degen activity that's captured. If you're helping me trade faster with less fees or things like that, that's kind of what I'm looking for.
Are you working on a spider chain bridging solution for Ordinals?
Not yet, because it's really, really hard to do so.
Yes.
We're working with Multibid, which is a centralized multisig.
Yep.
That's the only one we've seen in the market so far. It's really hard to do so. I think we're going to crack it. It's going to take about a year. It's really hard to build on Bitcoin.
Yes.
I think we're the only ones that are. I'm so biased. I'm so sorry. Like, I'm also Canadian, so I'm inclined to apologize every 30 seconds. It's really, really hard to build a truly trust minimized bridge, and Ordinals is a funky asset. You have to track those sats. There's no way to do so right now. That's not centralized.
Yep, so that is accurate.
I do have a general question here. With a lot of these layer 2s and with inscriptions in general too, what you're doing is you're ending up putting a lot more data on Bitcoin's blockchain. Have you guys heard of any projects that are trying to focus on either incentivizing or improving the full node experience and running your own full node? Because those are the people who end up having to download even more data from the blockchain as it gets more and more filled, as more things start happening on Bitcoin as layer one.
Actually, did you have something?
So you're asking if like any projects that somehow incentivizing to increase Bitcoin full nodes?
Yeah, because there's really no incentive to run a full node other than your own privacy and security.
So OPI, Open Protocol Indexer, has 2,600 people running the indexer. And 1,500 of them are like full nodes, full indexers, which means they're also running a Bitcoin full node. So OPI kind of, there is no like direct incentives, but like products that are encapsulating the Bitcoin full node also for to function are also like increasing that. So like, and OPI, Open Protocol Indexer, is designed to make BRC20 more decentralized. So existence of BRC20 itself somehow ended up helping people spinning up more Bitcoin full nodes. So, and it's kind of like this trend will just like keep increasing. We're going to see more than like 50,000, 60,000 full nodes in 1 year, 2 year, because like this is the first, like there are only a couple projects like this, but like whatever you do on Bitcoin, all these protocols, all the like BRC20, Ordinals, etc., they all need indexers.
Yeah.
And the more protocols we have, the more different approaches we'll have to indexers, the more people running indexers for various reasons will end up also helping more full Bitcoin nodes spinning up everywhere.
So are you rewarding indexers in any way at this point?
No, the main indexer runners has business interests. I mean, OPI has a community, like people expect airdrop or some kind of token to run it. There may or may not be, like for now, we don't have any like tokens and stuff. Because like, I can take the conversation a little bit to like, what's our second goal with this like open source protocol indexer is to actually make BRC20 programmable.
Yeah.
So my approach to programmability for Bitcoin is like using some kind of layer 2 or close things to layer 2 or like anyways to introduce like scale and introduce programmability to Bitcoin. It's like that's one approach. The other approach is like we don't make Bitcoin programmable, but you can make Bitcoin native assets programmable. You may not scale Bitcoin, but you may scale Bitcoin native assets.
Got it.
How would you define Bitcoin native assets?
BRC20 is a Bitcoin native asset.
So I'll say
Ordinals are a Bitcoin native asset.
But wouldn't you say that that's even tougher because it is like it's a harder SAT to follow, if that makes sense, right?
Following SATs is not a problem. We can follow trillions of SATs. It's not a problem when you have the like necessary infrastructure ready.
So even with the ordinals, like one of the first things we saw is when everyone got some ordinals, got your Sparrow wallet, you want to sell them, you got to run a full node, right? That's how it was. And guess what? I remember I run a weekly hackathon. Everyone, that's all they were doing was get them up. I need to be able to make money off these. There was an incentive to make money, right? And now we're moving into runes, and I think a lot of people are saying, oh, if I run a node, am I going to maybe get part of these airdrops? And it's a pretty like easy incentive to say, hey guys, how are you going to get access to these runes? Is it going to be owning collections? Maybe we want you to run nodes. And it feels like a really easy cycle, but I think the only way to incentivize people, right, is money always.
Well,
right?
but I think it's super important because that's going to be the best counterpoint you have to Bitcoin maxis who are saying, ordinals are bloat, it's all spam. If there's actual incentives from these projects to run full nodes, to actually decentralize nodes better, which in my opinion, having full nodes in Bitcoin be not incentivized at all, it's honestly like something that I think is an issue. Not necessarily a full security issue, because at most you can basically disrupt the network, but network disruptions are not good, especially as the network continues to get more and more large and more valuable, those small disruptions can have really big ramifications.
Totally. I think it's a great point, too. Like, any maxi is going to be like, wait, they're running how many nodes now?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, fine. What are they? They're trading cats? Pretty good, so I'm with you. Actually, Bob, you got anything on that?
Yeah, I was just going to say that when you build on Bitcoin, every meta protocol is going to require off-chain indexing, and that's going to necessitate having a Bitcoin full node. So as long as people are doing meta protocols on Bitcoin, using Bitcoin as a data availability layer, you by necessity have builders that have to run full nodes in order for their businesses to succeed. And we're already seeing, I don't know, I wish I had a current count for the number of unique meta protocols on Bitcoin. It's probably like 10,000 or something like that.
Oh, there's been like 10 that came out in this hack.
Just like protocols. I mean, I think there's a Dune dashboard, and you can just scroll through the BRC20 and BRC21 and BRC69 and BRC420 and ARC20 and SRC20, and like they just keep going. And so I think one interesting way to solve this node problem is just get people to build on Bitcoin. If you're using Bitcoin as a data availability layer, by necessity, you have to run a full node so that you can index the full entirety of Bitcoin.
I think that's not a problem anymore. Like, meta protocols solve that problem, in my opinion. Like, and more useful, or like more and more meta protocols will gain traction, which will lead to more businesses or like more indexer approaches, which will lead to more full nodes.
We're talking meta protocols here. We might as well get into it too. BRC20, it had a giant hype, went up. All of a sudden, we got to stop it. We got to freeze actual work on it. 2.0 is coming, right? So Runes is also coming. So what does that mean? What's going on, Bob? I'm waiting for your thread. Where's the 2.0 thread? Have you made one yet?
The thread is currently in draft form on my laptop.
Leak it.
My laptop is not here. Like, no one go steal it and steal my thread. Just kidding. It's right over there if you want it. I'm calling it BRC20 2.0 because it's the greatest way to market it. It's technically...
Thank you. Okay.
This is... the reason I'm calling it BRC20 2.0 is we haven't had a BRC20 upgrade since the very beginning. Domo released the BRC20 protocol. It's basically just been set in stone. And we're finally starting to see some really interesting work, and you could talk more about this, around how to make BRC20 assets programmable and almost enable all kinds of arbitrary programmability without any more upgrades. It's like upgrade it once, and now you have unlimited flexibility for BRC20 assets forever. So that's why I'm calling it BRC20 2.0. If you hate this...
it's beautiful. I'm like, we call it BRC20 finance module, but like you can like BRC20 2.0.
Finance module is not going to sell. Okay, I'm going to tell you what. If it was called up module, they'd be like, whoa, that sounds good. But finance, no, avoid that word.
To echo the degen sentiment again, what is that programmability going to allow us to do?
Whatever you want with BRC20 assets, yeah.
So like, I'm going to give a little bit like background on BRC20. So because like BRC20 is this account based, which means like we literally speak and Bitcoin blockchain notarizes it. And then like indexers basically create these balances, and then we track these balances. Like, so it's like purely virtual, like BRC20 is purely virtual. But like to understand it better, maybe we can compare it to like Runes being UTXO model. It's more like you have like these pieces of paper, we pass around these pieces of paper. So it's kind of like there is something we're counting and adding and subtracting. It's still digital, but it's like still like little pieces of papers. With BRC20, there is no pieces of papers. It's like fully virtualized in a sense. Yeah. So while indexers basically do is like additions and subtractions. That's all we do. And since day one, we were like, okay, like how far we can take this concept? Because like once you are doing off-chain computation and like market accepted this approach, so we were like, okay, how can we push indexing to its levels? And it also was like, first we needed like an open source indexer, and then we needed somehow collaboration between all other indexers like Unisat, Best in Slot, OKX, Hero, like couple other like companies. And there's been a lot of like fights, a lot of drama going on. Some people tapped out, went to build their own protocols. Some people stick to it. But after all those fights, we finally came up to like a state. Like next week, there will be more announcement about this. But maybe like I can talk a little bit. It's okay. Like when is this thing gonna air?
It's airing now.
Oh, okay. okay.
Leak it
So
all.
anyway,
Whatever you say, people are literally right now like trading whatever you say. So so
Okay.
whatever. Now he's got to think. You gotta wait. What can I say?
Okay, it's like Unisat wanted to do a lot of upgrades to the protocol. We also wanted to do a lot of upgrades to the protocol. And so we're kind of like co-maintainers now. Like there will be more structure and like more announcements coming out. But Unisat has this modules approach to introduce more features to BRC20. And it's like you introduce new inscription types to be indexed and computed, basically, okay?
Okay.
And they introduced the swap module, but it was like a black module, which means only the proposer supports it, but others don't. So it's not like real. You can get in, you can go in, but you can't get out. Okay? Because like if you get out, then the balances will break. So BRC20 will break. Like that's the point. But to come to that point for indexer collaboration, we needed like an industry standard, really, really good open source indexer.
Right.
And that's why we built OPI. We were like kind of tasked with that, like with Domo, a couple other players. Okay, like we need this, who can do it? We took that task because we are only, before Sordinals happened, we were already had this indexer for all EVM chains that can index billions and even in the future trillions of NFT and DeFi activities. That's why we can also like track billions and trillions of sats, because like we spent like a full year on just like building an infrastructure before like this ordinal stuff popped up. So I'm like an Ethereum person. I mean, I'm
That's why he's trying to make it programmable over here. Okay, everyone's a Bitcoin like
No.
it's not programmable, and he's like, I got an idea.
I mean, I've been in the space since 2011. I did
Nice.
like Bitcoin mining, like colored coins, master nodes, those era. And then like when with the block size wars, I kind of like, okay, I'm going to play on Ethereum now.
Yeah.
And then I came back somehow. I never thought I would come back, but anyways, it happened.
So I was gonna say, look, John, like, come on, you were there too, okay? You watched the whole hype happen. We're gonna copy everything that happened on Ethereum, okay? Every gimmick that happened there. So if it's programmable, I can all have a BRC20 that's only tradable from 9 to 5 EST, and nights and weekends you're not allowed to trade it. Done. That's going to be one gimmick that'll be fun for 2 days, and then when the first weekend's going to hit, it's going to crash, and then cool. The next one you can only trade it on, full. All the classic things we did over in Ethereum will just be repeated, but people are going to go, it's brand new, and people are going to make a lot of money, and it'll crash.
I keep saying anything that has ever happened on any blockchain ever is coming to Bitcoin.
And
Which-
10x bigger.
Yeah.
It's also like for me, building now on Bitcoin is like on Ethereum, we have these like complex machinery, laser cutters, like you want to build a building, you have all the tools, like a lot of things. But on Bitcoin, you have like a hammer, couple of nails, and like a saw. But then like we realized like, oh my God, like we can actually build a lot of stuff just with these tools. And it becomes like, because we're using much simpler tools, there is a much less security assumptions. So like my another like bet is that like we're gonna see much less hacks, wallet drainers, like those kind of stuff. That it won't be as bad as it is on Ethereum.
What's actually kind of funny is everything from Ethereum is going to come to Bitcoin, but all the ordinal stuff also came to Ethereum. So there are descriptions as well. And then what popped up were BRC20s on Ethereum as well, with off-chain indexing, which I just find very humorous.
Well, you made an interesting statement too, and like, well, John, since you're a security person too, do you think that it's going to be, I don't know, less people getting hacked in Ordinals because of there is a higher technical barrier, or Ordinals, Bitcoin, everyone who comes to the ecosystem. There's a little bit more of a technical barrier right now, so some people are a little bit more security minded, but there's also money, so people are FOMOing in so hard. They literally are like, send money to this address. They go, cool, what am I getting? And they don't even think twice. But
I think with more programmability, it means that people are going to get more confused with what's happening. Ultimately, the reason why there's such an issue with phishing on both Bitcoin and Ethereum is just the fact that people are able to send money with 2 clicks if they're not reading through what they're actually doing, if they're not double checking what website they're on, if they blindly click links on Twitter and they don't know if it's the actual official Twitter account posting those links. So it's really just how quickly people can move money that's leading to a lot of these scams being very profitable. And not reading, yes.
Yeah, I think it's really optimistic of you to think that there will be less or fewer issues on Bitcoin. I think if everything's going to be bigger, I think people are going to get scammed out of their minds.
Of course, scams will happen.
I mean, just look at what's happening with, I'm not going to name names, but there are a lot of projects. There are a lot of L2s coming out that are capturing $1 billion in liquidity in a week with vibes. There's no white paper, there's no light paper, there's no testnet, there's no way to there's no unilateral withdrawal. And they're capturing $1 billion.
But the vibes are good.
Yeah, don't.
The vibes are horrendous.
They're horrendous.
They're horrendous.
No, vibes are fantastic. Trust me, bro.
Literally, trust me, bro. That is the entire business model of Bitcoin L2s right now is trust me, bro. So honestly, you know how we're saying this week, ETH was testnet, including for scams. I think the scams are going to be 10x bigger.
Oh, yeah. It's what I meant was with Ethereum, we have all these complex structures. And you need audits by multiple
Yeah.
entities, and then still stuff blow up. And then 2 days ago, this week, another 6 million protocol popped up. That's what I was talking about. Of course, there will be phishing websites, more scam attempts, etc. But Bitcoin not being programmable and most of these ordinals collections or other kinds of things being not programmable make things much more easy to handle from T0. But when we start talking about programmability, it's going to be the same, of course.
It's actually pretty interesting. If you try and find a Solana smart contract auditor, it's really hard to find. There is really good infrastructure for smart contract auditing on Ethereum. If we start introducing programmability to Bitcoin, that system just isn't in place. There aren't people who are ready and trained and willing to do that yet.
Yeah, it's early.
Yeah,
we're auditing our code right now for mainnet, and it was really hard to find. We're doing an audit, we're doing a bug bounty, we're running our own hackathon to hack ourselves, but yeah, their infrastructure just isn't there right now.
The community's not there yet, but it's coming, I'm sure.
Totally. I was going to say this problem too of as you're saying, as you get things more complex, the auditors have to go through so much more. I remember in the early days, I used to read every contract I minted from. And then all of a sudden things started getting fancy and it was all proxy contracts. And I was like, oh my God, this is taking forever for every cool little quirk and kink. And finally I was like, I'm lazy. Did you mint it? Are you drained? And you just get tired after a little bit of time. And then anytime you introduce, we've audited by these people, immediately, whatever they've said, that badge, whatever it is, someone starts scamming that. So on Ethereum, we've already had the auditor scams where someone's like, it's been audited by blank. And it's like, no, it is not. Yeah. And so, yeah.
You actually do bring up a big point that people should be made aware of and be doing. If you're doing risky degen shit, get a burner wallet. Simple as that. You shouldn't be using your main wallet with all of your funds in it. Just make a second wallet. Really simple, easy to do with basically every single wallet out there. Do it today if you haven't done it.
100%. Yeah, and you don't need one burner. You can have 30 burners. Okay, it's okay. Well, I'll say actually, John, it's interesting because in Ordinals, we've had so many projects pop up and be huge and amazing. However, NodeMuck's one of the biggest ones ever. Their Discord wasn't up for how long, right? Because it was hacked instantly, and I was laughing. It was 2 weeks where they.
So in that situation, what happened is the founder had their Discord account was the server owner. And the Discord account got compromised. And when the Discord server owner account is compromised, that's the very top of the server, was able to kick out all the security bots, all the team members. And then what the scammers then do is they basically use that account that they've compromised, go to Discord's API, and there are specific API endpoints that they don't want users hitting. if you hit those API endpoints, they automatically ban you for 24 hours. And there are some new tools that are off-the-shelf scamming products that they sell that will allow you to continue to have those compromised accounts get banned over and over again. So you end up having to sit there and wait for Discord support to come and actually reach back to you, to actually recover that server. So that's why I am a big proponent of something called a cold account for Discord. It's a separate Discord account on a different computer you never use to talk to anyone. Makes it much harder to be phished. So any Discord servers that you own, you should always have the ownership be on one of those cold accounts.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you. That's actually super interesting.
Do you want to audit our code?
I will. I'm happy to look at any Discord servers.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
Sure.
Well,
take a look.
Well, Discord is another interesting thing to talk about because people talk in different places here. I'm laughing because if you go to a lot of Ethereum people, it is like Discord here. Telegram, though, is way bigger in like the Bitcoin world, it seems. And like, conversations move around, like Twitter, et cetera. Like, it's not going to be in one.
Our Discord it's really interesting. That's what we were expecting when we launched. So I think we launched our socials in like August, September. We were expecting Telegram to be like 10x Discord, but it's the other way around. We have like, I think, 35K on Discord right now and 3K on Telegram. I was pretty surprised.
Wow. Okay. Wow. Yeah. It's interesting.
Yeah. Usually with even on Ethereum, Telegram is more popular, sort of in the DeFi circles. But once you get into the more degen-y stuff, Discord tends to pop up as being a little bit more popular. I think it might be just because Discord's a little easier to share around and get hype that way. And it's usually a little bit better for community building too.
Got a better API, I think. That's what I like about it. Better. Telegram, it's like too rough. I want to automate so much stuff, and it feels restricted. Before we wrap up, because we do have a hard stop in a little bit, just want to make sure, Bob, what's going on next for you? What should we look forward to? When's the next thread dropping?
Yeah, next thread dropping soon. Hopefully I can get it out before I catch a plane later. But yeah, I mean, we just released at Bionic, just released our Launchpad a couple weeks ago. So helping creators launch Ordinals projects. We are built on a sidechain. It is definitely a sidechain, and I can own up to that. And because we're built on a sidechain, we can do really interesting things around programmability, more flexibility with launch pads, auctions, reverse auctions, English auctions. Like you can do whatever you want as a creator, basically. We do this interesting thing called reserved ordinals, where you mint a token off Bitcoin on a separate layer, and then at a later point in time, the collector can then inscribe it back to Bitcoin. So you can move assets from layer 1 to Bionic, from Bionic back to layer 1, and you can mint on Bionic and then take it back to the layer 1. So just focusing on really supporting creators that may not have resources to, go drop a full Bitcoin on inscribing their assets, or even we have some nice recursive tech to drop costs for inscriptions as well. So kind of laser focused on helping creators get involved in the Ordinals community and the Bitcoin community, regardless of their financial status. They might be in a developing nation, or they might, just want to come on and try and get involved in Ordinals. And I think Bionic is a really good place, as like a stepping stone there.
Awesome. I'm gonna be on there dropping so much bad art. You're gonna kick me off. Okay. You're gonna make it centralized. Kick me off here. Benari, what's going on? I mean, the OPI seems super interesting. We love open source here, obviously. When's the next release? What are we looking forward to next?
Okay, next release in March. We're gonna release this BRC20 finance module, which he says BRC20 2.0.
BRC20 2.0, right? Any EVM smart contract deployed as an inscription and make BRC20
it's
programmable.
Basically, we're going to introduce like EVM compatibility to BRC20. It's not like there is no bridge. It's not a layer 2. There is no multi-sigs. It's just taking the concept of indexing to its next level. So that's why we built OPI in the first place, also to be able to like put this out. And then it's gonna take a couple of months for like, we're gonna put it on testnet. We're gonna put out a lot of documentation.
You put it on Ethereum?
No.
I'm joking.
I'm like, okay. I'm like,
weekend. They keep saying it. At least you already said it once, okay?
And like the goal is to we'll be able to like with BRC20 you'll be able to do like staking, airdrops, all kinds of like this DeFi stuff. Yes, it will be expensive. Yes, it will be slow. But the point is to once we make BRC20 programmable, it opens up a lot of doors, such as you can build then like roll-up kind of approaches or like other kind of scaling solutions only for BRC20. Okay, so this is like this has been a concept in crypto for a long time, like having these like application-specific layer 2s. Like Cosmos tries to do that, app chains, yeah. Cosmos tries that, Avalanche tries that. But it's always like we're gonna build a city and then people will come and inhabit and like the city will become alive. But most of those cities are ghost cities still. But like BRC20 and Bitcoin has a lot of demand. So we are exploring this path. Okay, like I'm not saying we're building like layer 2, like nothing like that. It's just, okay, let's make BRC20 programmable and then see what kind of new stuff we can do on top of that. So that's what we've been working on. It's coming out. Let's see how it's gonna go. But it's like I'm branding it like this: BRC20 will be the first Bitcoin native asset that is programmable. I think it's like
nice.
Important.
When the Bob thread comes out, he's gonna like rename it, and it's gonna be great. I'm super excited. Sounds super interesting.
Help me, Bob.
I'm gonna hop on GitHub.
BRC 22.0, the new DeFi layer 2 on Bitcoin.
No.
You're getting free marketing right now. This is good. You gotta pay a consultant fee for you. Alicia, I kind of understand more what a spider chain is a little bit more now. Okay,
Awesome.
yeah. So what's going on next, which we look forward to?
First of all, I'm very much looking forward to both of your guys' projects. Also, like OPI sounds awesome. That's exactly what the space needs. So I'm really looking forward to seeing that. I think that's going to be a massive stepwise innovation.
OPI is live, like you can use, but like yes,
Yeah.
this next expansion is coming. Yeah,
That's super cool. Very excited. But I will spend some more time researching it tonight. Spider chain, mainnet in May, baby. We're doing our code freeze soon, getting audited. I think we're probably going to be the first Bitcoin, I don't know, L2 sidechain, whatever we want to call it, in the market by, I think, quite a bit of a lead time because we've been building for a long time. So yeah, mainnet in May, DeFi Summer 2.0, Bitcoin DeFi or BitFi. So it's gonna be a fun few months.
I could do another DeFi summer. Okay, I had a good one last time here. Okay, finally, John, what's going on? How do we not get hacked?
Just use a burner wallet. Read things, please. Ultimately, there's a couple of different things that are probably most impactful in the ecosystem. And one of those things that really sucks, obviously, is getting drained, you losing money. But the thing that really sucks even more is when you make your friends lose money. So keep your social media account secure. If you're using anything SMS-based for your 2FA, it's going to actually makes your Twitter account less secure. So just please don't. Use actual 2FA. Get a security key. If you have a ledger, you can use your ledger as a security key. So you don't have to go buy 2 YubiKeys. And Ledger's option to use it as a security key is actually kind of cool because you don't need to get a second ledger. Your seed phrase actually backs up all your security keys as well. So that's just something that most people don't know.
Beautiful. I was going to say, John, we need to get you a code for Ledger. Okay, you're going to sell some. Okay.
I think they gave me a code at one point, but
Oh yeah, what's your promo code?
We need it. Okay, John HQ. Okay, we're gonna
just input that so they can keep track of it.
Yeah. Put it in there.
Payment, I'm sure.
All right. With that, thank you, everyone. We'll be back for more panels later. Thank you, everyone, and